strong, the son of a pastor. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all like old dirty.
No, can't say that, can I? You can't say that.
Funky, fresh dressed to impress, ready to party. Money in his pocket, feeling proud and cocky. Clothes all stores like no cashier. Shoes cashmere, pinky ring chandelier. Might be a young prince, future king of a nation. Married 5 wives who looks annihilating. That's Nathan, I'm patient with what I got. Besides that, my one wife is smoking hot. Speak truth to my heart, whether or not I listen. That's love, we will never change the mission. Keep a small circle round with very few additions. Subtract all the liars so we can play our position. Cause if I love you, I'ma tell it to you. Never ruthless, you mature, get a pound out of deuces. Cause if I love you, I'ma tell it to you. Never ruthless, you mature, get a pound out of deuces.
From VA, man.
Oh, strong, the son of a pastor. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all like old dirty. Oh, strong, the son of a pastor. Oh, strong, the son of a pastor. Oh, strong, the son of a pastor. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all like old dirty.
No, can't say that. Can't say that. Can't say that. Say that.
Oh, strong, the son of a pastor. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all like old dirty.
No, can't say that, can I? You can't say that.
Funky, fresh dressed to impress, ready to party. Funky, fresh dressed to impress, ready to party. Funky, fresh dressed to impress, ready to party. Money in his pocket, feeling proud and cocky.
No, can't say that, can I? You can't say that.
Funky, fresh dressed to impress, ready to party. Money in his pocket, feeling proud and cocky. Clothes all stores like no cashier. Shoes cashmere, pinky ring chandelier. Might be a young prince, future king of a nation. Clothes all stores like no cashier. Shoes, clothes all stores like no cashier. Clothes all stores like no cashier. Shoes cashmere, pinky ring chandelier. Might be a young prince, future king of a nation. Married 5 wives who looks annihilating. That's Nathan, I'm patient with what I got. Besides that, my one wife is smoking hot. Speak truth to my heart, whether or not I listen. That's love, we will never change the mission. Keep us true to my heart, whether or not I listen. That's love, we will never change the mission. Keep us true to my heart, whether or not I listen. True to my heart, whether or not I listen. True to my heart, whether or not I listen. That's love, we will never change the mission. Keep a small circle round with very few additions. Subtract all the liars so we can play our position. Cause if I love you, I'ma tell it to you. Never ruthless, you mature, get a pound out of deuces. Cause if I love you, I'ma tell it to you. Never ruthless, you mature, get a pound out of deuces.
To the spirit, but help me see the true. The tree is growing, a blessing to see the fruit. I consider all legitimate rebuke. I'm not infallible, I make mistakes too. I'm undoubtedly in need of grace. To believe God for anything I need to face. No competition, but I'm in the race. Slow to speak, quick to listen, I'm just playing my position. Salute to the spirit for helping me see the truth. The tree is growing, a blessing to see the fruit. I consider all legitimate rebuke. I'm not infallible, I make mistakes too. I'm undoubtedly in need of grace. To believe God for anything I need to face. No competition, but I'm in the race. Slow to speak, quick to listen, I'm just playing my position.
They say I'm raw on the track like the beef when it's half cooked, and nod on the beat like the back of the math book. Funky, fresh dressed to impress, ready to party. Money in his pocket, feeling proud and cocky. Must admit it, she must increase. Feel like he got something good up his sleeve. Achilles heel will still be self-deception. Humankind falls each time with just one weapon. Bang, bang, shoot shot, then we drop the metal. Rebellion ass witchcraft, giving power to devils. But if I love you, I'ma tell it to you. Never ruthless, you mature, get a pound out of deuces. Cause if I love you, I'ma tell it to you. Never ruthless, if mature, get a pound out of deuces.
To the spirit for helping me see the truth. The tree is growing, a blessing to see the fruit. I consider all legitimate rebuke. I'm not infallible, I make mistakes too. I'm undoubtedly in need of grace. To believe God for anything I need to face.
My man Osaze Murray is in the house. Thanks for everybody that's getting a chance to check his music out tonight. We're just doing the artist-to-artist interview. So, what's up, my brother? Welcome to the show.
B.E.R.I.D.O.X?
How you doing, man?
What up?
Good,
man.
man.
Good to see you, bro.
Man. Same here, man. Same here. We got to this destination. We got to this time, man. I'm gonna enjoy this time with you tonight, man. And I don't
Me
think
too.
there would have been anyone more fitting to be on tonight, man, than you. You know what I'm
Thank you,
saying?
brother.
You
I
have an
appreciate that,
extensive history, man, with the culture and just being a man of God, man, and really to be available to be able to give insight and just whatever God lays on your heart tonight is going to be monumental because a lot of people are suffering, man, going through. And it's so funny because I was like, wow, this joint was not what I was expecting it to be. So we're just going to have fun, man. Just talk through it and just go through the motions, man.
No doubt, man.
So what's up, man? So for those who don't know my man Osaze Murray, if you were around Christian hip hop some years back, you might have heard of this name, Oppose. Used to be a man who'd be rocking the mic, and he had one of my favorite lyrics. He said, what he said, I tucked my chain once in my life. I wasn't scared, but the time wasn't right. Sometimes I say that to my wife because I have a little chain now. I'll be like, I tucked my chain once in my life. I wasn't scared, but the time wasn't right. So
That's
that
right.
was one
That's
of the,
right.
How was that verse, man, when you had wrote
The,
that,
the,
Joe?
the rest of it go, dudes that rolled with me was too pretty to fight.
Wow.
So
And we gonna
that's
get
the
it
reality.
tonight.
Like that one time I tucked it, I ain't had people around me that could handle everything that we need to handle. So I said, well, I
This is it.
surveyed the perimeter.
I could dig that. I dig that. I
Yeah.
remember you did that for B.E.R.I.D.O.X Open Up radio program. You know, that was dope, man. That was dope. So let people know about your ministry, man, who you are, who you be. I know sometimes it's like the cold start, but in the essence of things, you know, people got to know. Because sometimes they don't see, they may hear the music, but they don't necessarily get the chance to know the artist and know who you are. So introduce the people to, you know, Osaze Murray, bro.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, like the name Oppose, it fit me. It was anything wrong with it. It just came about one time. Me and Wade were talking. We were in Chicago, actually. It was at Flavor Fest, and I had the opportunity to preach at this church.
Okay.
And he was the first one to say to me, he was like, "Yo, I think people gonna know you more by your government name than by your rap name because you in different worlds, you in different lanes." You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
That got me to thinking a little bit, and I really had that name Oppose because in Timothy, one of the letters to Timothy from Paul, he's like, gently oppose those who don't know Christ so you can win them over. So that was always my effort to approach it that way. You know what I mean? Like, even if you knew to read in the Bible, you just read like how Herod liked listening to John the Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
Up until, he couldn't like just keep listening to him and not do something right about what he was hearing. You know what I'm saying? So eventually people will be like, I don't want to hear it no more. But until then, I want you to hear as much of it as you can. So we were trying to do everything gently. But Wade kind of dropped that in my head one time. We went, like I said, and I kept wrestling with it because I started to make some noise with that name.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't know if I want to change the name, but that's the name my parents gave me. You know what I mean? So I mean, can't lose. That's the name they gave me. So my name means whom God likes.
Okay.
And I'm just a dude from Norfolk, man, VA, and I lived on the East Coast all my life. Lived in DC, lived in Philly. That's how I met you. That's where I met you.
Yeah.
And I'm just captivated by the grace of God because it could have gone another way for me at any point.
Amen.
So, I didn't always rap for the Lord.
I feel that.
I don't
think most did. I don't think most did.
Yeah, and then I started loving him. You know what I mean? So my vocab changed.
Yeah. Yep. Your speech, your heart, your mindset, your content, message, everything changes, man.
Yeah.
Everything changes.
So that's what happened. It wasn't overnight, and it still ain't overnight. It's still, room to grow and all that. So
that's good.
That's been the journey, man, in a nutshell.
That's good, man. So when you stomping through the streets of VA, and you said, but after VA was where? Maryland,
DC. Yeah,
DC. So
I lived in Northwest DC
okay,
for about 6 years.
okay, and then you had some time in Philly. So when you
Yeah,
was
it's crazy. I
moving,
had like 6 years in Philly, so it was
yeah,
6 and 6.
six and six. That sound like the
But no more
Bulls.
sixes after that.
You said you gotta change it to a 7, man. You
Yeah, got to
you
get
gotta
to
get to another
completion, bro.
number. Gotta get to
Yeah.
another number. How was the travels in that midst of that? Because you got a chance to see different states, different cities, different um, you know, different towns. The way that music was going on in there. How was you surveying the land? Because it was giving you an edge because you know what sound was going on here. You know what sound
Yeah.
was going on here. Although we're East Coast, we're not always doing the same thing.
Hmm.
So different cities will like a little bit different this and a different that. How was you feeling when you was traveling and going through those different boroughs and stuff like that?
You know what? It's funny you say that. I did have an advantage because I would pick up the vibe. So I also lived in New York for like 2 summers.
Okay.
So really, my first song I ever recorded professionally
Hmm.
was recorded in Harlem.
Wow.
So it was kind of crazy. Yeah, I used to catch the train to my little job that I had, and it
Okay.
was this dude named Doug, and I was just like, yo, you make beats. You know what I mean? Like I could hear something he was doing that made me know he made beats. We
Yeah.
just connected. And
Yeah.
then I was like, all right, I'm trying to record. So we was, I would get like that Harlem. I knew what the vibe was. I knew what the vibe was from where I'm from.
Hmm.
Then DC has that vibe that they have. Philly has
Yeah.
that vibe that they have. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you something, B.E.R.I.D.O.X. Like every city got another vibe to it, right? You know,
I
Philly's a
believe it.
fight town. Philly's a fight town. You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel you.
But
Battle MC.
but the truth is like Philly people, man, when they love you loyally.
Yeah.
They love you from the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like deep love.
Yeah.
So it's the same. That's why that music has that soul to it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
And then when you're in New York, you kind of pick up a vibe, especially during the summertime when I lived there, you pick up a vibe like what's moving,
Yeah.
like what's moving. And then DC, man, they got a bop. You know what I mean? DC
Hmm.
has like a bop. You know, your rhythm, your flow it's got a
A
bop
certain
to
way.
it. Yeah, it's gotta be a certain way. And then like I said, I'm from Norfolk, so we vibe off of all kinds of music. We vibe
Yeah.
off Caribbean. We vibe off, the reggae. We vibe off the East Coast.
So y'all got the melting pot
So
sound.
yeah, it's like there you go. It's a melting pot, man. So like
Wow.
almost every album you'll hear a little bit of reggae on a track from me. Not from me because I don't front. You know what I mean? I get the
You
people
don't
to
do the
do it. That's
KRS? You don't flip it?
yo, man. KRS he's the blast master. You know what I mean? I can't
That's
really
what they
do it
call
like
him,
him.
Blastmaster
Yeah,
KRS.
yeah.
That's dope. So that brings something interesting. So when you recorded your first song, what was the sound in Harlem like? Like, and how did that kind of, because a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, what you can get access to is kind of what lane you can go through. You can't really create outside the box if the producer don't bring up one of those outside the box tracks. So what kind of tracks, when you got to that first studio session, was he pulling up in the beats and you was listening? It's like, is this Dipset? Like, is this Mace? What kind of beats was they pulling up?
He honestly he had a different borough as his sound. He had more of a Brooklyn
Mm.
sound,
So yeah, Brooklyn
right?
sound.
So
Wow.
even though I was living in Harlem,
Mm-hmm.
the way I was moving, I was in Brooklyn a lot with different people that I knew. So
Okay.
his vibe was more like like that early Cameron, but like a Brooklyn kind of sound, but it had a
Mm.
polish, like a Harlem polish on it. So it wasn't straight MOP rugged.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It had a little polish on it. And then around that time too, there's a producer's good brother named Sean J. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Sean was in Brooklyn, and I spit like some bars for him. He was in Bed-Stuy. I remember
Okay.
it. And I
Okay.
wasn't saved. You know what I'm
I hear you.
saying? And he had
Mm-hmm.
he had like scriptures on the wall and all that. And I'm sitting there just saying whatever I wanted to say. And he like, nah, you
Yeah.
can't say that. You know what I'm
So
saying?
he started trying to bring you in a little bit.
Yeah, he tried to bring me in, but gently. Try to bring me
Yeah.
in gently. So between him and that dude Doug, they had like very different sounds, but it had a polish to it. And that was the first time I was like, if I'm gonna get something, it need to have a polish to it. It need to sound like it's like you could play it without lyrics. You could play it in your
Okay.
car and
Okay.
it could thump. you know?
Yeah, yeah. Now that tells a lot from what you're explaining from the sounds that I heard from you throughout the years. Especially today, I digested your Midnight album, and just listening sonically to the different beats you picked, the different things that you went for and gravitated to, I could understand what you're talking about. You were looking for a banging sound, boom bap, it knocks, it got different energy and different levels, but of course you kept growing, as you went throughout the years. So how did the transition happen for you? Because if that was the secular days when you just wanted rhyme, just rap, and we didn't have a whole bunch of content or understanding about you can rap for God, Jesus saves, like how did you get from there to here?
Yeah, it was a beautiful but hard transition, being honest with you. Because
Okay.
I was in this contest that was a battle rap contest.
You gotta
And
be
and
it,
check,
man. You gonna be an MC, you gotta
yeah,
battle.
yeah, yeah. But here go the crazy thing.
Mm,
I had to back out of it because I had a family obligation.
okay.
So 2 years later, I'm saved now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like God was like, I thought you didn't mind being in this contest. So I'm like, yeah, I don't mind being in the contest. You know what I mean? So I got in the
Yeah.
contest, but he was like, so who is going to be about? Is it going to be about you and your ego, or is it going to be about me?
Mm,
So I had to like, this just me. This is what I had to do. Every verse that I said, I had to start it with Jesus Christ.
okay. Okay. That was
So
the
it was
breaker.
very difficult. Yeah, it was difficult, artists, like as an artist, to just start like that, because that's a stumbling block off bat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I start off like that, and then I had to face the dude that had won last year.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
the
And the dude
champ.
was nice. It's this kid from Cali. He was nice, and we knew each other. So
Okay.
he knew me when I was rhyming before, and then, whatever.
Yeah.
And real talk, like some people say, it was a tie.
Mm,
I
that's
took
dope.
the L, and then I had to come back for isolation bracket to get back in. I was like, dang,
Mm,
I gotta do this again. You know what I mean? So again, it was like Jesus Christ, boom, boom, and whatever else the bars were. But
mm-hmm.
bro, like that probably was the best way, because I feel like God threw me in the deep end,
Mm-hmm.
and He was like, you did it in front of all these people, and some stood for you, some booed you.
Mm,
I mean, you could
mm,
do it in the booth. What's the booth? You know what I mean? So it
yeah.
was like, I mean, the transition was hard but good, because it was just like a throw me in the deep end, take off the training wheels, and just stand. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So now
Yeah.
I definitely understand your writing pattern. So I'm about to ask you about your influences because I listen to your flows and I have some ideas of who might be your influencer. So I ain't going to bring it
No,
up.
you
I'm gonna
gotta say
see.
it. No, you gotta go for it. We
I'm
family,
trying. I'm
so
trying
I'm,
to
I'm not gonna
guess.
say it and tell you who.
I mean, and some of it is flavorful. So some of it may be little scattered, particles that just get onto us. A little Slick Rick with the slickness of it and smoothness of
Yeah,
it.
love him.
A little Nas because of the
Yeah.
intricacies of it going in and out. But you like variety as well, So I don't want to throw you into other ones. Those are the two that jump out to me initially because of the slickness of the wordplay and still killing the rhyme, but ain't really acting like energy wise I'm killing the rhyme,
Yeah, yeah. No, you got a great ear, man. That's great perception. Like Slick Rick, man. Like to me, if he didn't go to jail,
Mm-hmm. He
he'd
could
be
have
talked
continued.
about as top five. You know what I'm saying? Like bottom line.
Yeah,
Um, Nas comes in that same area, that same general garden. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Of being able to, like you say, spit it and then not be like, I gotta tell you with the energy that I'm spitting. Like, oh, here
yeah,
I am. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, I used to like a lot of dudes that didn't have a lot of extra seasoning. They were just nice. The seasoning
Gotcha.
was the cherry on the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So Ghostface Killer, he got a lot of energy, but that's the cherry on top. You know what I'm saying?
gotcha,
Raekwon, it's the cherry on top. You know what I mean?
gotcha.
Redman, that's the cherry on top. All those people, they dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not gonna get confused by their style
Mm-hmm.
and miss out to the fact that they could spit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, you know, in Christian hip hop, like that's why I try to tell people you got to give Christian hip hop a try. Like I used to say, if they got to make a decision, if a listener has to make a decision between me and, I mean, you name somebody that's in another lane, that's a journey. And then the next journey is, okay, I like this Christian hip hop better than I like, oh, praise God. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't came, like the journey was dope. Like, and if whatever it was I did, I'm glad, you know what I'm saying? Because I help, you know, get your ear into like appreciating, you know, something better. Like, so
that's what I do feel
know,
from you.
I gave you a couple other names, but those are, you on it, man. Those are the people that I dig, you know?
Okay. Because I do feel that vibe, like because you know so much more. And that's why I already, you know what I'm saying? And you and I really haven't spent a whole lot of time around each other, but I guess we picked up the vibes from one another. You're deeper than what you write in the rhyme patterns. I already know that. So it's like you're bringing them into the elementaries of a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of deeper, a little bit of that. But you don't go 1 John 1-9, like, you know what I'm saying, and reciting the whole scripture. So that's why I do appreciate you bringing that out in Christian hip hop. And we have a large array of sampling, different appetites, different styles, different feasts. Like, I think in one context, we're probably one of the most versatile subgenres because of the fact that everybody's all over the place. You know, everybody don't do it the same way.
No, you're gonna get some pastoral stuff from some people. You're gonna get some like Pentecostal, like get you hype type stuff from some people. You know what I mean? So you're gonna get a broad range, and then you're gonna get people that's just like, man, the streets wouldn't play this if I ain't do it this way.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? Like, so at the end of the day, like some will sow the seed. You know what I mean? Some will plant it. God will get the increase. You know, He's gonna make sure it's right. So.
So
you know,
true.
whether you water it or you plant it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna get an increase. So I feel secure in that, you know, and knowing that.
Yeah. It's almost just like a street team goes out to witness, they pass the tracks out, someone gets saved. They're not preaching to them the full Bible. Once you get into church and you hear the pastor or the ministers teach, then you get the rest of it. You know what I mean? So sometimes we can take the music that way and write it from that perspective. These different introductions to the gospel and let people grow and let them, as it says, taste and see that the Lord is good. You know what I mean? And it can be able to go to another level.
I'm gonna tell you something that's funny. Even as you said that, like, it's a song. I don't know if some of the people who watching this remember this dear brother, but he's dope. But it's a song Tim Brindle did like years ago called "The Preciousness of Time," and I would just play that joint on repeat because it would help me to not procrastinate. It helped me like remember, like I only got a dash, you know what I mean, between my dates here on earth.
Yeah.
And one of my family members would be like, since you love that song so much, like, why don't you write a song like that? And I was like, nah, that ain't my lane.
You said, I appreciate what the Lord
no,
told him to do.
Beyond appreciate, I love it.
Yeah,
I admire
you loved
it. But
you said, but I'm not going to write it.
That's not my lane. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just, so even like you said, like if the person who's hustling them tracks and getting it out there, whatever, if they come back and say, all right, now I got to do all the other pieces, and that's not really their lane, it doesn't really operate as a body. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's important. That's so important. I had some ideas or some thoughts that I said I would put down on paper because I don't even usually do this, but I said, you know, my man, he has this depthness about him that I'm gonna make sure we touch on some things. So let's talk about the album Midnight. Midnight is the last album. Why was the album called Midnight? I have some idea as I was listening to it, but you know, I'll let you put it out there. What was the meaning behind the album Midnight?
No doubt. Like if you think about it on a lot of levels, right? You got kids. Their curfew might be midnight.
Okay.
But why? Because there ain't nothing good after midnight going on in the streets. So it's kind of like, yeah, right. So we already have a reality of what midnight is and how it's a changing point and why we want to protect people sometimes. Yeah. Also, midnight is an international standard. You know what I mean? So in Paris, in Kenya, wherever it is. Now, in different parts of the world, it's 0000. You know what I'm saying? But it's still considered midnight, right?
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's what I've seen. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but here's the illest part. It's like I feel like the Lord put it on my heart to name it that because it's dark at midnight. But the reality is it's a new day.
That's right.
So it's like, man, like if I could see things with facts and faith, I'm not going to just operate off of what I see with my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when my eyes is dark, with my eyes, it's like, yo, it probably going to go downhill after midnight, or it's just getting started for some people after midnight. But the reality is it's a new day. The day has started fresh. So when I was on a missions trip, you know, I think I shared this story with some people. I was on a missions trip and I was praying because I like to get the title of the album before I bring it all together. So like, that's how Speak Lord, that album came, you know, I got the go ahead saying, all right, Speak Lord. Gotcha. Time to Deliver was another album. It was like, I got the verse from Psalms and it was like Songs of Deliverance, bam. But this one, it was like, I think midnight is what you know, giving me on my heart to call it. And then I was praying and I had my head down and I looked up and it was like a little lotion that my boy's wife had on her dress and it said Midnight Plum. And I was like, dang, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was boom, boom. And then so when I came back to the studio, I wrote a jam. I don't know if you know the dude, Will the Apologist. I went over his house. I just had to get it off my chest. I just wrote that jam, got it off my chest. It had a boom back. Then I wrote to an old EPMD beat, got that off my chest. Neither one of those joints made the album.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't really like bring it to that concept. Yeah, they didn't bring it to that concept, but I had to get them off my chest.
Gotcha.
But I tell you, man, that year was probably one of the darkest years in my life.
Was this 2019?
You know, 2019, 2020. You know what I'm saying? My mother-in-law died.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear that, bro. Yeah.
I had some doubts about a few things, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, my faith got to be more than just what I see.
Yeah.
I'm human. You know what I mean? So I had doubts. And I'm like, but my faith got to be bigger than what I see. So midnight became that rallying cry was like, bro, it's dark, but it's a new day. Just believe that. And then you go out and you walk. And what happens? The day gets lighter.
That's right.
Right? You know what I mean? But if you just bunker down or whatever, you focus on how dark it is, you forget that there's hope.
Dark.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's more that's coming. So that's how I got it, man. That's how it came to me. And so the songs and everything else kind of try to bring out that whole idea that it's a progression.
Well, it's dope, man. Because the reality is, and like you were saying throughout this interview, it's going to keep coming out. You're being true to what you've been called to do. You're being true to answering the call that God puts on you, you know, with putting projects together that actually is coming inspired by God, given to you by God. And to some, it may not be the bright lights that people want on the big stage, but it's like, that's not what you're called to do. You know what I'm saying? You're called to bring the message that God laid on your heart to bring. So that midnight thing is real, because if you do stay in that dark place and just keep thinking about how great is that darkness, of course you're going to feel depressed. Of course you're going to feel overwhelmed. But if you then allow the light to come in, you know, and that means just calling out to God and praying and then waiting. Because that's what you're getting to. It's 1 a.m. Yeah. It's 2 a.m. It's 3 a.m. It's 4 a.m. It's 5 a.m. 6 a.m. The sun getting ready to come up. You know what I'm saying? And it's a different perspective. And that sometimes can be those waves that we feel in life. Where it feels dark, it feels hopeless, it feels like nothing's going to change. But slow down with the stress and slow down with the frustration, slow down with, you know, just talking about how dark it is. And sometimes you just don't say nothing. Just talk to God and let God talk to you until he flips that light switch. That's it, man. I mean, what else can you do? You know, like in Psalm 27, it say, wait on the Lord. Yeah. Be of good courage. You know what I mean? That's wait, right. I say on the Lord. It's like, and my man was saying today, he actually was saying this to me. He said, like, if you go outside and tell a dude that's standing and waiting for the bus, wait on the bus.
Be of good courage. Be strong and wait on the bus. He'll look at you like, what you think I'm doing?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But when we're waiting for something that brings us hope,
That's
when we're
right.
waiting for something to be actually better than the way it was and the way it is right now, you
Yeah.
actually do need somebody to remind you,
Yeah.
wait on the Lord, be of good courage. You need God and his word and people to remind you. So that
Yeah.
was kind of like also what it was with the album. It was like, I just want to encourage a few people, like appreciate what's going on around you. Wait
Yeah.
is coming.
Yeah.
Also wait and pray, bro. I mean, I know we'll talk about it, but there was like a whole week where I was wearing all black. You know what I'm saying? Like not shaving nothing because it was just too many people getting killed, too
Yeah.
much injustice. And I was,
Yeah.
you know, my
Yeah.
buddy had a ticket to the Wizards game, and I was like, man, I was wearing all black. You know,
So you wasn't
you know,
in the
I wasn't
mood.
cheering out.
You
Nothing was
wasn't in no
going right. You
mood.
know what I mean? Nothing was going right, man.
Yeah.
But you know, God kept dropping it in my heart. You know, just right. It's gonna be all right, man. I'm still here. So
That's real. That is so real. So I had this on my mind too. And this is some energy things before we go deep and talking about, you know, what's going on in life. What is, in your estimation, the most slept on Osaze song? What is the most slept on that you wrote and you said, God, you gave me
a banger.
perfection in this
Yeah,
song and you just speak through it all the time? And it has to come from your standpoint as the writer and the artist
yeah,
because others don't probably see it that way.
yeah. I think the most slept on jam is it's kind of back in the vault though. It's a little older joint. It's the Judges 16
Mm.
track that I did. I kind of wrote somebody had a contest where you were supposed to like take a passage of scripture and write on it.
Okay.
And I'm bad at reading directions. So what happened was
What had
I wrote
happened?
this
What had happened?
yeah, I wrote the song.
Yeah.
And people were feeling it. Like I could see people like yo, blah, 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 blah. And then people was like, but he didn't follow the rules. So I was disqualified. You know what I'm saying?
That's wild.
And what's crazy is Shalim was a judge for that contest.
Okay.
Shout out to Shy, good brother. But he was a judge and he was like, yo, that joint was dope, man. I was like, but I ain't win. You know what I mean? But
That's dope,
then
though.
we did a remix for it. What was crazy though is the reason why I got disqualified because I jacked the Jim Jones beat. You know,
So you had to have total originality. No,
I don't know. I didn't read the directions. You know what I'm
I
saying?
feel
But
you.
what I would do, because right, you know where I live in Philly, down the street there was a barbershop. You know, you could always get you a mixtape CD with instrumentals.
Gotcha.
I would just run through instrumentals and write to what I like the most. And I didn't
Not
even hear the
paying any
original,
mind.
bro. I didn't even
feel
hear
you.
the original. I don't even know what was on the original.
That's right.
And I wrote like 3 verses about Samson. And, you know, just kind of like broke down his story because he's got 4 chapters in the book of Judges. So the hook was like, you know, what if your life was written in 4 chapters, birth, strength, weakness, whatever after.
Yeah,
With your enemies laugh, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's the most slept on.
Okay. I think I remember that one because we appreciated that one. But like you were saying, from what you were coming from the standpoint of comparing it to everything else that was being created at the time, you're like, yo, that had some good stuff in there. That's dope.
Yeah, and it
Man.
spoke to me too, because, you know, here you got the strongest man in the world and he get taken out.
That's right.
So,
You know, not being focused.
yeah.
So what's your most favorite song?
My most favorite?
Yeah.
My most, like, out of the stuff I made?
Out of the stuff God gave you, yeah. What's the
Dang.
one that you would pull up and say, I gotta play this?
Oh man, you got good questions, brother.
Supposed to, man. We supposed
I
to.
know you're doing it. You're doing it, B. I would say Where You From with Jay.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. That's my man's.
Where you from?
Yeah, Where You From with Jay. That's a fun song, man.
See, I'm gonna have to go back in the archives myself and listen to this.
Yeah. That was a fun jam right there.
Because that's one thing that we do have is so much music now. It's like, and you still have so many responsibilities. Like we didn't even go through all of the things that Osaze does. Like that's That's a whole nother, and that was another question that started coming to my mind. Like, how do you find time to do it?
I don't. like I mean, I'm gonna shout out my man, Military Mindset Productions and Brinson at God Chasers, because I did 2 features. So I did a feature for Military Mindset Productions. He got a remix that's coming out. His album that he put together is banging. It's got like a lot of good artists on there, and he's gonna do a remix of the song. I don't know when it's dropping, but it's coming out soon.
That's dope.
But what I did, check this out, man. I recorded it at like 5:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? And then Brinson's joint that I did for him and B.E.R.I.D.O.X, they got an album coming out called Medallions.
Okay.
I think I recorded that joint pretty early in the morning on a Saturday. So it's like, you don't really have time, but you do. Yeah. You just gotta, you're finding it, but it's hard. It's harder. Yeah. I mean, it's harder now. So, and the crazy thing is, see, you make beats. I had a beat machine, and I said, nah, I don't have enough time to make beats and rap. So I bought the beat machine from this dude, then I sold it right back to him.
And he bought it back gladly.
Oh yeah, he bought it back.
He probably missed it. He probably was supposed to have it.
He missed it, but I was like, bro, it's gonna take me this many hours to learn how to make one beat.
Yeah,
I'm like, nah,
it
man.
doesn't add up. It doesn't.
Nah, so I sold it back to him. I said, I'm gonna focus on writing. So
there's nothing wrong with that, though. There's nothing wrong with that.
You gotta do what you gotta do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but if you're gonna record at 5:30 in the morning, you gotta have your stuff in your house. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was the biggest change, was finding time by setting it up so I could do it, where I live. So I get up before everybody else and just try to knock it out. It's different. I'm nocturnal.
Smart.
You know what I mean? Bro. So I prefer to do it at night, but
Smart,
hey, whatever.
Man. Get up before everybody else. I just want to touch on one thing, man. With the new album, the song Power to the People, in my estimation, when I was listening to the album and I heard that song, the third verse to me is like the realest verse you wrote in this project, because the third verse you were talking about, I don't know if it was your grandmom, you was talking about holding her.
That was my grandma,
Yeah, it was just so vivid and real, and that's why I probably, like, before I came on, I didn't think of Slick Rick, but now it makes sense because he's a storyteller, and you have that capability to tell stories in the middle of a rhyme, and that joint was so real. It's like you could almost see it playing out, like a movie. That joint is real. So
man,
I
thanks,
give
brother.
you a shout out for that, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No problem, man. So just to touch on some of the other things that's been going on with the pandemic, how have you been grinding it out, taking care of the family, monitoring, fathering, husbanding, how has that been, man, over this past year?
I'm gonna start with the funny and then I get to the serious. The funny is I don't have to buy gum or mints anymore.
You said you don't have to buy.
I mean, because everybody masked up, you know what I mean? So it's like you hurting yourself if your breath is bad. So I don't buy. I used to get, got the strips, the little strips. They expensive. I don't even have to get them no more. I just say, yo, take care of your stuff. That's how I tell my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the funny side of it, saving a little bread. But it drives you crazy, man, a little bit, if I be honest.
That's a lot.
You have to be so super vigilant. So you already have a heightened sense of vigilance. You know this from being a dad. Yeah. You got another level of vigilance now because of the pandemic. Yeah. My neighbor down the street, her and her husband, they're older couple. They both went in with COVID and only the husband came out. You know what I'm saying? She died. So man, it's harrowing, bro. Harrowing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So just talking to him and going to the memorial and all that. So my heart breaks for everyone that's dealing with this pandemic, and we dealing with it too, So just trying. That's it, man. I pray Psalm 91 over me and my crew, and just keep trusting God. Yeah, it's tough.
Right. Yeah, you trust God and mask up. And,
in the and wash your hands.
Wash your hands, sanitize, and do all the things we're supposed to do, man. If you get vaccinated, get vaccinated. My wife and I already got vaccinated, so we're still transitioning, taking care of the parents and making sure they get it. So it's like, it's a lot. It definitely is a lot. But one thing we can say for sure is that God has given us the strength to endure, the strength to, gather your thoughts together, just like you're talking about with the midnight concept. It looked the most darkest, but as you keep moving forward, the sun is going to shine again, and God's going to give you insight. He'll give you light. He'll give you wisdom. He'll take the
Yes, he
burdens
will.
off of you, free
Yes, he
you
will.
up. You know what I mean? Not saying it's going to stay like that always, too. You'll be
Yeah.
challenged again, but,
Yeah.
it gives us hope. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
that word hope. We got to
Yeah.
have hope for it.
And the hard part is if you ever had to quarantine and you got family, you know what I mean? That's hard, man,
Yeah.
because depending on how much space you have in your house, and I think a lot of people just didn't empathize with people who live in communities where it's a limited space.
Yeah.
People is like, yo, why they not doing this and doing that? Like it's abnormal to do all
Yeah.
of that stuff. That's why,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But one
Absolutely.
time I had to quarantine, you know what I mean? So it was tough. I had to be like, I couldn't break bread, with the fam, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
And all those family dynamics
yeah,
that you're responsible, is
yeah,
responsible for this and that to take care of
yeah,
this, the oil change, this and that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you
all that.
can't, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You can't
yeah,
be engaged. That's why it's like, yo, if you do have a crew that's in the household, like you had that talk with everybody. Look, we staying COVID free. Like
yeah,
as much as we
yeah,
have the control over it, because you don't want to, like you're saying, disrupt the function of the flow and get spiral out of control in another area, and you got to figure out how to cover this and cover that. It's a lot.
yeah,
It
yeah.
definitely is
It
a lot.
is.
So with that moving, and we still dealt with so much, and ultimately we're going to get to the bright spot, but we'll talk about it with the social injustice that's been going on and how much these things have been playing a part of it. These
Mm-hmm.
cell phones,
Mm-hmm.
where things are being recorded and uploaded immediately and being shared like crazy and stuff. It's almost to the point that if you look, you'll find it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? If you want to find evil, you look, you'll find it. You want to find
Mm-hmm.
good, you look, you'll find it. It's so, it wasn't access to stuff like this before. So
Yeah.
for us to deal with it then and try to already, because scripture says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And that's the concept. God is love. Don't hate. But
Yeah.
we're seeing demonstrations of hatred being portrayed to
Yeah.
poor people, to black people, and it's just like,
Brown people, Asian people. Yeah. You seen it.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
and to stay balanced in that concept, you really got to have a conversation with God every day, because otherwise you're almost living in a constant state of midnight, that
Mm-hmm.
there is no hope and things won't change. But
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate thing is what we're seeing, though, is that God is allowing all of this to be seen because now we got to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like from the top down, they're going to have to deal with it. You can't
Mm-hmm.
just keep covering it up no more. You can't just act like it didn't happen
Mm-hmm.
or it was this, it was that. And sometimes my heart feels for it too, because you do see situations that are crazy, but I'm not there on the scene, so I can't judge that individual of why they did what they did, as well as, talking about the people that was the victims. Why would they in the pursuit of trying to spin off? And I understand it, but I don't feel that weight of it. But to be in it, I couldn't imagine. You know what I'm saying? Just the
Yeah.
things, man. It's rough. How you
It's
been dealing with that, man?
man. It saddens me. Like I said, I spent a period of time, you know what I mean, where it was just like all black everything. You know what I mean? Just because I
Yeah,
was I
right.
was grieving, I was
Mhm.
lamenting. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I participated in a march, at one point that was like
Mhm.
really galvanizing because it was like, okay, we're trying to do something.
Yeah, trying to
But then
cause
there's other
change.
times, huh? Yeah. Then
Trying
there's
to
other
cause
times where,
change.
yeah, there's other times when you realize, okay, I personally can't do this next thing.
Mhm.
So how do I still utilize the time I have with those
Yeah.
that I can influence? So it's a balance, but it's your heart can't
Mhm.
be hard
Amen.
you know what I'm saying? Like a buddy might say, if you're in neutral, you can go in reverse or drive. But if you park, you can't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's like your
Yeah.
heart has to be, shaped and molded, but
Yeah.
it's got to be bumped. It's got to be beating
Tender.
still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part. Is like, man, how can my heart stay beating after I see so many people get killed or
Yeah.
situations that's wrong? I
Yeah.
will say this, man. So, you talked about the song Power to the People. On that same album is a song called Sorry, to the third power, sorry 3 times. And so it's like, it's this mixture of like, the people need power.
Yeah.
We gotta have some power, man. God, look out for us, help us. You know what I mean? Like the Israelites cried out because they were being mistreated. So the people need power.
Yeah.
And at the same time, when you do that, Lord, also give us the power to forgive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now different people got different opinions on how close forgiveness and forgetting go together hand in hand. That's another show.
Yeah.
But the forgiveness part allows my heart to keep beating. It doesn't take me away from the power. It doesn't take me away from being able to motivate and move towards the right thing, being treated the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I don't forgive, I'm gonna find myself with a hardened heart at some point, and that's where none of us can't afford to be in that place, because that's a tough place to be in. I've been there when it's been hard to forgive someone. You know what I mean? So
it says bitterness can set in. And
it's so you gotta. I think that's why the phone has helped bring awareness. You know what I'm saying, to situations that people would have easily gotten away with. Or,
it didn't happen.
But the phone can also, if we're not careful, the phone can also like make our heart very cynical. And very hardened, because the constant news feeds and the constant opinions can drown out, how you can participate, how I can participate, because we got to participate. That's not a question. But
the how. That's the overall question. That's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
And even in Philly, man, what we've been experiencing, you might have saw it on the news and might not, because it's so much news going on. There's been increases in shootings that has been crazy. And we know that also nationwide with the mass shootings and how all those things been going on. It's almost like, God allows us to see these things to say, all right, so, I'm willing to help. But, are you going to work with me? So this has given us as a church an opportunity to pray and to be, like you used the word that's important that the Lord seems to have most of us on, is influence. Paying attention how we're influencing people, how are we inspiring people, how are we encouraging people to go to another level of fulfillment of what they're really been put here to do. And some people don't see those things as being relevant, but they're absolutely relevant in the time like this, because people got to see hope. People got to see light. People got to see that you're not walking around with your head down wondering, is the sky about to fall? You know what I mean? Like, yo, God can turn these things around. It also goes back to what you're saying about the heart. The heart has to be, as Jesus said, there's conditions of the heart in Mark 4, stony heart, stony ground, among thorns, or that good ground that's ready to receive seed and it can bring a harvest. We're in a lot of different areas. We're seeing a lot of different things, but I'm learning as a believer, the reason I'm seeing, I can pray about these things. I can try to be instrumental in trying to, change some of these things from the level that I'm able to touch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, bro, it's you got to go against the grain.
Yeah.
Because it's always this setup to go with the grain sometimes.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you got to be informed. So it's a balance in that. You know what I'm saying? Like that phone is usually the first thing we grab when we wake up. You know what I mean?
And if
if I let somebody put a little bit of extra, tang in my juice in the morning, I could be crabby the rest of the day. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. It's like I go to sleep the way I am, I wake up the way I am. But I need God to influence the way I think and approach this whole situation because man, you gotta operate. So
that's what it is, man. And that's the blessing in the whole scheme of things is, man, invite the Holy Spirit in. Because he can illuminate our imaginations. And what we're noticing too, us being, you can use the term artists or just believers, in the midst of all of this stuff that's going on, you will be able to hear from God to give you more songs to write that's going to actually help somebody and really attack it. I was actually writing, I found myself writing on the mixtape I did about COVID. And I was like, I would have never thought about rapping about COVID. You know what I'm saying? But it had a verse and it came out because that's what we're dealing with. And to give people inspiration to say, God hasn't abandoned us. God hasn't left us. The earth is still hanging out here in the atmosphere. It ain't dropped. You know what I'm saying? As much as we say all this is falling apart, this is falling apart. Like, nah, it's still put together. We still got a shot.
Yeah,
as long as Christ is on the throne, bro, we
That's
still
it.
got,
That's
we
it.
still got
That's
a
it,
shot,
man.
man.
That's
So
it.
I'm gonna wrap up the interview with the last part is to really what would you say to some of the younger CHH cats that are coming up or believers who rap, whatever way they analyze themselves and really approach, music and stuff? What are some of the words of advice you could give to a younger person who may be starting to say, "Yo, I can rap and I'm saved"? What's some of the things that you can give them advice for that will encourage them to follow the path that God created to them, created for them, that can, what I mean, give them some insight.
Yeah. I know a few that I admire and respect their music right now. It's this cat named Nate Period. He lives, in this DMV area. It's a dude. I don't know what name he goes by now. He used to go by one name. I think he goes by
switch it up.
something. Yeah, he switched it up. But I would say, he knows who he is. But I would say, like, man, like, pay attention to the people who have gone before you and see where they landed. What I mean by that is this. So, like, it's artists that if you like what they bring to you, what they've put inside and deposited into your heart and into your spirit, like, pay attention to, like, where they are, you know what I'm saying? Pray for them, or pay attention to where they are, and then pay attention to the people who you like, yo, they blew up, or whatever it is you want to call it, however you define success.
Yeah.
And then also see how accessible you are to them and they are to you. Because I think what you'll see is there's a difference. I really do.
Gotcha.
I think the people who were grounded and God gave them whatever lane they were supposed to be in.
Yeah.
He's also giving them grace to bloom where they're planted, and the accessibility is there. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, man, like, the worst thing you want to do is have a lot of strangers admire you and the people that love you and like you hate you. That stinks.
That's very deep.
You know what I'm saying? That's no, what good is that?
Yeah.
You know? So that's why I kind of just feel like, accessibility is a real good marker as to, where your priorities are. Because, I mean, look, you can have, like, I don't know how many followers on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But if the people who love you and like you, if they can't get a word into you, if you can't do them a favor, if they don't like you, if they think your walk with Jesus is, like, slipping, listen to them.
Yeah.
Don't listen to all of those people who don't really know you. You know what I mean?
Just online access.
Yeah. But I think the future is bright. I think it's a lot of dope. Like I said, it's a lot of dope MCs just thinking about the long haul. You know what I'm saying? You don't want your kids to not show up at your funeral, right? You don't want your kids to take you to court. You don't want you know what I'm saying? So these are just realities. Like if you just
It's
pay
real.
attention to like people that you think are amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and who like who's close to them.
Bro.
And I mean, I'm just talking real talk, you know?
Yeah, it's because it needs to be said. There is so much advice, and I think there's so much more we can do to really make it known that it's not about the bright lights, it's not about the glitz and the glam, because like you're saying, that holds no weight. And if it's tried by fire, that joint to burn up if it's not pure. You know, it's
Yeah.
not pure ministry, it's not purely what God told you to do or called you to do. But I understand, because we've been through this with our mentalities of trying to approach vision and distribute it and give out God's message, that if you don't feel sometimes nobody championing you to continue, that it's easy to throw in the towel and say, well, ain't nobody looking for me anyway. You know what I mean? And people been pulling up and quitting. And some of them, God really wants them to be used. Some people were doing it just to be seen, so that flickered out real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of them dollar store lights. Them joints ain't
Yeah.
gonna last
Yeah.
too long. But
Yeah.
if you have something that God really wants you to do, sometimes you got to be like what David said. I encourage myself, but at the same time, you got to keep spending that time with God. And when God keeps giving you fuel and keeps you going, you can keep going through even those periods of midnight and those periods of darkness when you seems like you don't know what to do. But if you
Yeah.
be patient, you wait, and you keep working at your craft, it's going to go to another level, and it may not be what you expect it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way the Lord
You know, it's
operates.
crazy too, though. Sometimes, again, like looking at artists that you dig, like there's a group that I love when I first started the rap, for the Lord. This group called Chosen Disciples. Again, accessibility. Once I had dropped my first album, I found this dude Monty. I was like, "Yo, bro, I just gotta tell you, man, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
I see what you gotta do. At the time, he was dropping any more music, but his contentment was you could sense he was content. And that's my thing is like, if you're able to sense like an artist that you dig is content, even if they're not making music, just pay attention to that too. You know what I'm saying? Like just pay attention to the fact that the joy of the Lord is that man's strength, that woman's strength. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, yo, it's cool. You know what I mean? But some other people, man, they don't have contentment, and it's a catch. You know what I mean? But that would be my encouragement to whoever out there, the young sister that's spitting or just spitting hard, the young brother that's spitting hard, like, do you, man, like kill it and knock it out.
That's
and
right.
pay attention to the leaders who've gone before you and the people who've gone before you, and just reach out to them, see what it is.
Yep.
You know?
And what you're explaining is and most people don't have the time to do that because we're too busy watching social media, is to do some history studies and go back and archive. Like we can probably get together and do a series on stuff like that to explain how important it is, because if you don't really have no history of the music that you're really participating in, you don't know the waves of when things came and going, and how something that was just really super childish was being utilized, and everybody, like back in the day, the dance songs. Everybody had to have a dance song. You know what I mean? The stanky leg and this one and that one.
Yeah.
And where are them groups nowadays? Some of them is like, they're gone.
Yeah.
You can't be gimmicky, But like we said, the pot is big. There's a lot of mixture of a lot of different things. Some people don't take the music so serious. Yeah, it's cool. But if you are trying to be that bona fide John the Baptist rapper who bring that fire, you know what I'm saying, and eating wild locusts and honey, you know what I'm saying, wearing your dashiki or whatever it is, man, it's a funny thing about it, but you got to really keep your eyes on what matters most. And the way that these social media sites are set up, bro, if you depending on those likes and depending on those members and the numbers to keep going up to prove to you that you're being effective, you can get robbed because the
Yeah.
joy won't be coming from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they hit a button, bro, and you don't get no ads for a month.
Mm.
You like, how can you figure those things out? And that's what you were
The
saying, right?
algorithm.
Yeah,
The
the
algorithm.
algorithms, man.
Yeah.
Somebody lying. You know what I'm saying? Because you working
Yep.
hard. You know,
Yep.
you see different
Yep.
things that go on, but that's why you got to be doing it for God and not for the likes and the shares.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's some
Yeah.
real talk, man. You got anything to leave with the people before you bounce?
Yeah. My website, please, www.osazemurraymusic. And
Dot.
you can get like the good
What's the
news is
last
you can
dot?
get
What's the
huh
last dot? Osaze Murray Music dot
.com.
com.
My bad.
All
.com.
right,
Yep.
that's
.com.
important.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, no
Yeah, it's very
problem.
important. And the cool part is you can get the entire discography. The whole catalog is there. So I got like every project that I
That's
ever
dope.
put out there and recorded. And when I put it on that website, it
Yeah.
kind of like, gets it to you more direct and gets it to me more direct. And
Okay.
then it's just a good look because I don't put everything available for streaming. See, that's the other thing. Like
Yeah.
I kind of know, all right, certain joints, if you really want them, you remember them, or you willing to check them out,
Yeah.
go ahead and just get it, and it's yours. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? From
Yeah.
my heart to yours, from the prayer closet to the mic. You know what I mean? So
That's dope.
and so maybe I will stream everything at some point, but right now I'm not doing it. So it's a bunch of like stuff, like songs that we talked about that's on that website.
Okay.
So,
I say I
yeah,
probably copped some of them CDs from you in the early days because I have
yeah.
certain ones that I see.
Yeah, you got them. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if you got time to deliver, you got the the joint about Samson. But you know what else is crazy? Last thing I'll say is like I always for the last 3 projects always make a physical CD,
Okay.
and this physical CD always has a song on there that the streaming doesn't have. And so that's
Okay.
the other cool part about the website.
You're
It's like,
doing bonus tracks.
yeah, I always so even Midnight, there's Midnight Gold Edition that's
Okay.
got like 3 bonus tracks on it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
One Mac to do those. I had to pull one out of the basement from him to so
Okay.
so
Okay. Okay.
you know what I mean? So I always try to put something, specific and different on the
Yeah.
physical CD, just because that's what it
That's
should be
dope.
about sometimes. You know what I
It
mean?
should, but you're talking about the originality of the essence of buying a record, and right now, because of the beautiful concept and the technology of just touching a button, and you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying, it's like it gives you something tangible, but for the young cats who are probably 25 and under, they don't understand that. Now, this is
yeah.
vinyl,
See, this the vinyl. You know what I'm saying? So like, you gotta do
bro.
what you gotta do, man. You know what I mean? So
I know, but like
I
we
try to,
said,
I just try to like, and I got good people that make me think differently, and I'm thankful
yeah,
for them. But also, it's like when I do a CD, I have people that hear it before it drops, and they say, "I like that
okay.
one,
So you
whatever."
do
You know what I
listening
mean?
sessions.
Yeah. So it's a blessing, man. I'm just glad that I can still create. I'm not worthy, not deserving, but I'm so grateful that I can do it. And you
Well,
encouraged me by having me on your show, man. You really, when you hit me, I was like, oh man, for sure, and
that's
it
dope, man.
it just spurred me on to more good deeds. So thank you, brother.
That's good, man. That's good because I want you to be encouraged, man. That's like my um transition back to doing music again has been ultimately to keep others going because I've been watching and seeing cats dip off, and it's like, yo, because then you start surveying what's been coming out. You're like, yo, what this is missing. This is missing. You're
Yeah,
like, wait a
yeah,
second. And that's why you see the Lord starting to gear a lot of us who are in our 30s and our 40s and the 50s starting to come back and do musical content because we had some life that we lived, and you can really talk from a different angle. You know, I'm not talking
facts.
about the latest dance. You tweak your elbow and spin your wrist. Like, I'm not talking about that. You want that? My man over here got that, or sis
Yeah,
over here got that. We got
yeah,
some other different content. So
And ain't nothing wrong with collabing with the dude that can do all of that. You know
if
what I'm
we
saying?
can do it, we can do it.
Yeah,
But they
cause,
gotta be
cause it's
willing to go deep though. That's the
what
part.
that's true. That's true. That's true, man. That's so
Yeah.
true. You
They
know.
don't want to scare their fans off. You said, yo, you said a whole Bible verse in a verse. Yeah. He's like,
Actually,
yeah,
yeah, I
man.
did. I did,
I
bro.
did,
Yeah,
man. There's nothing wrong with that, man. It's
yeah,
kosher. It's straight.
yeah.
It's straight. That's what's up, man. So, Osaze, hold on real minute. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say, everybody, we thank y'all for tuning in. Definitely check out my brother's music. He is talented, he is gifted, and he is God's man. So he's definitely bringing great music to the culture. And like you said, if you like that slick Rick gospel flow, he got a little bit of that. He may have a little Ghostface Killer with the Kung Fu grip. You know, he might go hard on that way. So, you know, we just rocking out. But we thank y'all
No
for
doubt.
supporting and checking us out. And if you catch it on the replay, share it, like it, do what you want to do. But definitely be inspired. See y'all.
Peace, one love, everybody. Thank you.